Yeah. So in the previous chapter, in the third chapter, if you remember, Krishna spoke about lust in the end section of chapter 2 and how it traps us, causing bondage. And then in the last verse, Krishna speaks about how with transcendental knowledge we can go beyond this, we can combat this enemy lust. Also, while describing Nishkama Karma, dutiful, detached work, which is said to be the means to attain jnana. So the goal of Nishkama Karma is jnana. He's described this in the last chapter also. So now in this chapter, Krishna is giving us that jnana or that transcendental knowledge and the glories of such jnana. So he begins by describing the lineage in which that knowledge is described, or it descends. So first verse, let's recite this. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manave praha manu isvakave bravit. Somebody can unmute and read the translation, please.
The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku.
So here Krishna is talking about that knowledge that has been passed down through lineage, which descends. So this is not something new that Krishna is giving to Arjuna. He's trying to tell Arjuna this, that the knowledge that I'm going to give you has been given already by me to the sun god first, and then that's how it's been passed down. Now, we often talk about when we speak about Krishna consciousness or when we even distributing books, we talk about how when, for example, when you go buy any electronic, with that there's a manual that comes how to operate, right? What to do with this new gadget that you just got. Similarly, Krishna tells us that when you are given a human form, you're also given a manual how to live life. So this is the knowledge that Krishna is going to describe and tell us. First, he talks about how it's passed down. He also talks about the glories of the knowledge, and then he also gives that knowledge. So why the royal kings? Why given to the kings only? Why is Krishna giving it to Vivaswan, who's the king of all planets, right? The sun god. So king, who is the executive head of all states, are meant for protecting inhabitants. Therefore, royal order should understand Bhagavad Gita. Why? To rule the citizens, to protect them from material bondage of lust. Also, they themselves are protected first, and then they can protect everybody else from harm outside, but from within also, from the bondage of lust. Spread the science of Krishna consciousness so that people may take advantage of this science and pursue a successful path. Make them understand importance of human form of life. So this is according to Srila Prabhupada, it's coming from the purport. So also the sun god is Vivaswan in this millennium. And this is from the Brahma Samhita 5.52. Yat chakshuresha savita sakala grahana Raja samasta suramurtir ashesha teja. So basically here the sun is the king of all planets, the sun god. At present, the name Vivaswan rules the sun planet, which is controlling all other planets by supplying heat and light. He is rotating under the order of Krishna. And Lord Krishna originally made Vivaswan his first disciple to understand the science of Bhagavad Gita. So, and this is just to give an idea, most of you might already know when was Bhagavad Gita spoken originally, when Krishna says, I gave it first to Vivaswan. So this is 2,005,000 years ago by Manu to Maharaj Ikshvaku. So Krishna gave to Vivaswan, then Vivaswan gave it to Manu, and then Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. So this is, the time you can frame, the time frame. It wasn't just 5,000 years ago in Kali Yuga, just before Kali Yuga began in Dwapar Yuga, towards the end of Dwapar Yuga, Krishna gave the knowledge to Arjuna again. So it is not something new. It's you can say it's renewed knowledge. So you can go through all these years later, maybe. The Gita is not, therefore, a speculative treatise for the insignificant mundane scholar, but it is a standard book of knowledge coming down from time immemorial. And how to accept Bhagavad Gita as it is, Prabhupada says, from disciplic succession without mundane human interpretation. The mundane wranglers may speculate on the Gita in their own ways, but that is not Bhagavad Gita as it is. So Prabhupada gave us as Bhagavad Gita as it is because each word is transcripted as it is from Sanskrit to English and then various languages. Another way to see it as there's so many people in India who try to, they think they're very great scholars and they can translate the Bhagavad Gita and they try to put down in their own words, in their own conception, their own opinions, they bring it out. But after reading that, we can understand, have any disciples been made? If yes, maybe one or two or a few. But reading Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, there are thousands and thousands disciples who are made. So this is the potency of a pure devotee who's bringing down that same original knowledge given by Krishna through the disciplic succession. And this shows us how disciplic succession is so important. Okay, so this is Day of Brahma, 311.04 trillion years, which has 36,000 kalpas or days of Brahma and an equal number of nights. And then one kalpa or one day of Brahma has 4.32 billion years. And then within those kalpas, there are manvantaras. So then one manvantara, 14 manvantaras in total, one of them, you can say, has 306.72 million years, which is 71 Divya Yugas. And one Divya Yuga is 4.32 million years, which includes the 4 yugas. So 4 yugas, what are the yugas? We all know Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. And what is the length of each of these yugas is also given here. Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. Right now, about 5,000 years have passed. That's it. So many years are still left of Kali Yuga. So one Divya Yuga is when these 4, Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga, they're put together, this is one Divya Yuga. And then within one Manvantar, there are 71 such Divya Yugas. And then within one Kalpa, there are 14 such Manvantaras. This is really astounding if you see what is the age of Brahma. One day of Brahma is one Kalpa, which is 4.32 billion years. So now how many Manvantaras are there? 14. Right now is the 7th Manvantara going on, in which, who is the Manu? It is, let's keep going. In which Vivaswan is the sun god right now. So Krishna blesses humanity by which they could combat the forces of lust and conquer material existence by practice of yoga. And that tracing of the chain from the transcendental to extraterrestrial, which is so Krishna is from the transcendental. He gave the knowledge first to Vivaswan, who is extraterrestrial. Anything in this universe, in this planet, is terrestrial. Beyond this earth is extraterrestrial within this universe. So that is the sun. So coming from transcendental to extraterrestrial to terrestrial to Manu and then Ikshvaku. These are all kings. So let's keep going. Second verse. I'm also going to open my Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so let's all recite this second verse. Evam parampara praptam imam rajashriyo viduh sakalena mahata yoga nashta parantapa. Somebody can read the translation.
This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost.
Lord Krishna is telling the reason also why he's giving it again to Arjuna, because in this succession, it was lost. The knowledge was lost. So why Rajarishi? Krishna is saying, let's look at the word by word. Evam parampara praptam. So thus obtained in parampara. Imam Rajarshyo Vidu, this knowledge by the saintly kings. So Rajrishi, actually Rajrishi means royal sages. If you see the translation, Raj and Rishi, so royal sages. It can also mean saintly kings. Sakalena Mahata, by the great power of time. Yogo Nashta Parantapa, O destroyer of enemies. Yogo Nashta, this knowledge was Nashta, it was destroyed. So somebody might say that how can knowledge be destroyed, right? It can be covered, but it cannot be destroyed. Krishna will also explain that. So let's look at Raj Rishi. So Raja has outer power. He has control, he has authority. And Rishi has inner power. He's an inner seeker or inner seer. And when we combine these two, Raj Rishi is also a king and also a Rishi. What happens? It's very powerful. It's extraordinary. The inner seer, who has higher vision within oneself, prevents the outer ruler from misusing his authority and getting corrupted or seduced by temptations that power brings. So when a king has authority, there could be temptations. There could be, because of that power, he can be entrapped. So many other, various anarthas. So, but to save that king from that being corrupted, what happens? There has to be either an authority who is telling him what is the right thing to do, or within himself, he should be that kind of rishi who is disciplined, who knows what is the right thing. So that knowledge given to a king is very, very important. Otherwise, there'll be corruption in the whole society or the whole nation. So understanding this knowledge is also not just a matter of, somebody who's really intellectual. Yes, I can understand all this. It's not that. When Krishna says it's passed down, it's a beautiful link which is passed down. It's a link of hearts. So the spiritual teacher internalizes and demonstrates the principles of selfless love and devotion to Krishna. And when the disciples see this, the heart is attracted towards the spiritual master and he becomes inspired, and thereby the knowledge is passed on and received. So it's not just some theoretical knowledge spoken by a spiritual master to a disciple. It is spoken, but it is also realized, and then through personal example. That's what Acharya is. Through his personal example, people follow. Otherwise, even if a person has some authority, he can discipline through strict rules, but people's hearts will not change. There will not be any love. So disciples internalizes and molds his life according to the principles that the spiritual master is living. And thus the knowledge lives on through the living example of those who are living according to that knowledge. So this is how Bhagavad Gita also, Prabhupada says in the beginning, if you see the purport, you can open the first verse, chapter 1, verse 1. If you see the purport, beginning itself, Prabhupada says, with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna, and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretations. So it is clear we are trying to understand Bhagavad Gita through Prabhupada's words, right? How he lived his life and how through him, so many other disciples, he changed the hearts of disciples through his example. He was such a a loving spiritual master. He was always so compassionate, so caring. So seeing all those, and he had so much knowledge, but seeing all his qualities, the hearts of people change. So for us also, we should, in our own lives, we can be strict with people if we have some authority, but unless we show kindness and love and compassion, we will not be able to, make a change in the other people's hearts and lives in a constructive way. So for love, there has to be compassion and care. So Gita love lives through those who live the Gita. When we receive the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita from those who are living it, then we realize it to be not just theoretical knowledge, rather a transformational knowledge meant to be lived and to be realized. Krishna says, Sakalena Mahata Yoga Nashta Parantapa. In course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. So Nashta actually means destroyed. Prabhupada uses the word appears to be, it's lost. So how can imperishable be destroyed? Not the knowledge itself. That knowledge can never be destroyed. But the accessibility or availability of that knowledge is lost, in the sense that even if the books are available, their import cannot be understood merely by Sanskrit expertise. This happens over a period. So how can it be understood? If you followed till now, even if the books are available, people are trying to read it, but they will not understand it. Why? What is the main ingredient to understand the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita? Who can tell us? We just now discussed.
Someone
Right, Guru.
right guru.
Purity.
Right, Guru, yes. Whoa. Well, something more?
Internalization of the knowledge.
Internalization. And how does that come? Seeing the example of the Guru,
Right.
how the Guru is living his life through the Gita. So the Guru is following the principles of Gita and teaching through his example. Only then we can read also, and then see also people are living the Bhagavad Gita. That transforms us, because we see through an example that yes, it is practical. So this happens over a period of time. Why is it lost? When there is no living practitioner, because time in general degenerates everything. So in time, it is degenerated because people who are living the Bhagavad Gita, they themselves, obviously the body perishes and they're no longer there. People who are there, they're not living the Bhagavad Gita in a proper way. So that's why the knowledge appears to be lost. Okay, let's keep going.
Mataji, that's
Yes.
also why we follow the disciplic succession, like a disciple who accepts a guru and surrenders, and then it just is continued through the lineage.
Yes, that is the reason. That's why Prabhupada always stressed on a bona fide disciplic succession. And this is the reason. Wonderful. Let's keep going. 4.3. So evayam maya tetya yoga prokta puratana bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam hi etad uttamam. Somebody can read translation.
That very ancient science of relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend. Therefore, you can understand the transcendental mystery of this science.
Thank you, Prabhu. So let's read word by word. Sa evayam maya tedya. So that very knowledge, sa eva, certainly, by me to you, maya tedya, I'm giving that knowledge to you. Yoga prokta puratana, which is that yoga which is spoken and it is ancient. Puratan is ancient or old. Bhakto si me sakha cheti. You're my bhakta and you're also my sakha. Rahasyam hi etat uttamam. It is a great secret or a mystery and it is Uttamam, it is topmost. So Krishna is telling, I'm giving you that knowledge because you're my friend and a devotee. So that's the qualification also to understand Bhagavad Gita. And it is also a secret. It is topmost and it is a secret. So people these days, the newer something is, the better we feel it is, right? A newer gadget, a newer whatever, new. And we feel that because of modernization, whatever is new is the best, but old also has so much value, right? If people say that this company is 132 years old and it's a medical, field, then that shows the authenticity also. So we understand that something which is ancient and old also has so much value, maybe greater value because of its purity also. So Krishna is saying this knowledge is very old, it's ancient, and I'm giving it to you now because you're my friend and devotee. So yoga prokta puratana, yoga of ancient science, of relationship with the Supreme. Outer world is changing, like we spoke about newer things, but this yoga of ancient science enables us to overcome our lower side and connect our higher side with the highest Lord, who is eternally on our side. One who's intelligent focuses on this knowledge that Krishna is giving for developing that relationship. So there is outer world which is changing, but there's inner world where there are 6 anarthas. What are the 6 anarthas? It says right there, small font, but if somebody has memorized, you can unmute and speak about what these 6 anarthas are. Just name them.
Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mat, Matsar.
English?
Lust, anger, jealousy,
Right. Envy, yeah.
and illusion, greed.
And pride. Yes. So these 6 anarthas have always been there. Whenever a jiva comes in this world, right, there is contamination through the modes of material nature, and these 6 anarthas are there to various degrees. So to overcome these, which have always been there, any time in the beginning, only Krishna, with the creation of time, with the creation of these worlds, universes, Krishna has given this knowledge. So it's not that now I'm giving you, Krishna is saying. It's not that just in Dwapar Yuga, towards the end of Dwapar Yuga, Krishna is giving the knowledge to Arjuna. He had given it before. So this is Puratan. This is ancient knowledge. Okay, let's keep going. And why is it, okay, let's ask this question. Why is it a secret? Who can tell us? Krishna is saying it is a great secret. It's rahasyam, etat uttamam. It is topmost, but it is a secret. Why do you think Krishna is saying this knowledge is secret? Because we all have Bhagavad Gitas, we all can read, right? We all can maybe understand also. And it's not that the key verses are hidden somewhere. They're also there. They're also open and to be read by all.
Could be, Mataji, maybe the people are to understand this knowledge.
Mataji, go ahead, please. Do we need to have some eligibility to hear this or study this, something like that?
That is true. The qualification also Krishna is giving in this verse only. You should be a devotee. You should be a friend of mine, not inimical to me.
Maybe, Mataji, to avoid misinterpretation.
Yeah, but
Because if we have a guru and they will teach us, then it's not open to our limited knowledge experience to interpret Gita just however we want.
yeah, that is there. But how is it a secret? Guru can also reveal it to us. But why is it a secret? Let's look at this rahasam. It's not a secret because Krishna wants to keep it a secret. It's a secret because most people are not interested in the ultimate questions, but only in the immediate questions. So most people are They want sense gratification, quick gratification. Their people are lusty. People are, what is in this for me? Immediate, what do you say, gratification. People are looking for those. If we talk about next birth, how we can fulfill the perfection of this birth by understanding the spiritual knowledge, most people are not interested. Right now, how can I gain right now? So eating, mating, sleeping, defending, this is all people like animals. They also do the same thing. So most people are not interested. That's why it is a secret. And this is a qualification, bhakta and a sakha. So Krishna is revealing it to Arjuna because he sees these qualities in Arjuna. And we can also, what is the best way to absorb this knowledge? That's why doing a little bit for Krishna each day. What is the best thing we can do for Krishna each day? Prabhupada has also taught us, just chant. Chant names of Krishna. It is not something very, okay, like a discipline, okay, I'll do it. Yes, it is. But what is it doing? It is connecting us with Krishna. Krishna is seeing. It's like a text to Krishna, right? Our acharyas also tell us in today's language that it is like a WhatsApp connection. I'm connecting to Krishna and Krishna, okay, here's a call, and Krishna pays attention. Who is this devotee calling out my names and sitting down and chanting my name? So Krishna's attention is, he's always there with us, within our heart as Paramatma. But when we call out, we are seeking his mercy, we're seeking his grace, and we're connecting. And we're showing him, yes, I am wanting to be your devotee. Okay, so, and when someone loves someone, anybody, like even in our, let's take a small example. In a school, when we go, we have maybe 2 children, one of them grade 3 maybe, going to the school and there's some competition. We would want, why would we want our child to win? Because there is love, right? So when there is another child who wins, we are also happy, but we won't be as happy as if our child had won, because there's a connection, there's affection, and there's deep love, right? So that person's glory gives one's joy as he sees himself connected to that person. But when one envies someone, then that person's glory creates more hatred and one becomes offensive. And this is what Krishna does not want. If he reveals his glories to people who are envious towards him, what happens? They'll become offensive also. So that's why he's giving this knowledge to a friend who is, there is a connection of love. There is no enmity, there's no envy. And Prabhupada always used to talk about how you have to open the jar of honey to taste it, right? People can read the Bhagavad Gita from outwardly, but the sweetness they will not be able to taste the sweetness. So somebody can read this, can just unmute and read.
When we cultivate devotion for Krishna and we try to serve him, then the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita will become more and more illumined in our hearts and is sustained by our steady devotion. Our receptivity and devotion gives us access to timeless knowledge, which is made accessible to us by Krishna by his merciful intervention.
So what is also important? Our receptivity and devotion, which gives us access, with which we can not just read about it or hear about, we can also absorb the knowledge and make it our own realized knowledge. So that is really important. Prabhupada used to say there are only 2 kinds of people in this world. One are devotees and the other are demons. So let's have somebody read these. Comparison.
Lord selected Arjuna as he is a devotee and not possible to understand. The demons are not possible to understand the mystery of Bhagavad Gita. Commentation by devotees is real. The commentation by demons is useless. Arjuna accepts Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead. Any commentary following this is real devotional service. Demons don't accept Krishna as he is. Devotees follow the disciplic succession. Demons mislead people by concocting something about Krishna.
I can give you an example of that concoction in my life. This was, I think, about 18 years ago, when we were in these apartments in Irvine itself, but we had really good friends next door apartments, and there we had really good friends. So when we moved to this house, that connection, was lost somehow. A degradation of time, I would say. But I met them after the husband. I met him after I had started, coming. I came to Krishna consciousness, and we had a booth in this big fair. Ours was Bhagavad Gita as it is, and we were distributing. And in front, it was a big booth saying Brigu something. So I was just intrigued. I wanted to know what it is. And I went there, and the guru who was sitting was the husband of that close friend of mine. I was amazed. How come he's a big guru and there's a big line wanting to talk to him? So I also stood in line. When I came and I sat in front of him, and he's like, "Oh, I remember you, Anjali." I said, "Yeah, how are you?" And this and that. And he's like, I said, I'm trying to follow the Bhagavad Gita, I go to ISKCON temple. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, Bhagavad Gita. You know how how Krishna gave that knowledge to Arjuna?" I said, "How?" He said, "Through his mind, like this, the knowledge came out and it went into Arjuna's heart." I said, "Nowhere does it say in Bhagavad Gita that knowledge is Krishna always, Shrinu, he says, listen, because he's speaking, right?" So little bit what I knew at that time, I spoke, and he was so offended that I'm speaking the wrong thing. And I was like, politely, I also left. And these are, I don't want to say, but in Prabhupada's words, people are misleading people, and such people are demons, because they themselves are not perfecting their life. They're also misleading other people through their own opinions, which is so, at least just leave them alone. Don't give the wrong knowledge, right? So becoming gurus and giving wrong knowledge is demoniac. So this is a summary of verses 1 to 3. Lord Krishna speaks about the history of Bhagavad Gita and the disciplic succession, how he gave the knowledge to Vivaswan, who's the sun god, king of all planets, 120 plus million years ago. Then sun god Vivaswan gave it to Manu, Manu gave it to Ikshvaku. And now Arjun also is receiving this knowledge about 5,000 years ago. He's re-establishing the knowledge. And why? Because he's a devotee and a friend of Krishna. And then the two classes of men. Okay, let's keep going. 4.4. Arjuna Uvacha. Now Arjun has a question. Kaya Mataji also has a question. Yeah, yes.
Mataji, Hare Krishna. Is the Ikshvaku line the line that Lord Ram came from?
Yeah, the Sun dynasty.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Arjun. Yes. Okay. Arjun Uvacha. Aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvataha katham etad vijaniyam tvam adau proktavaniti. Somebody can read the translation.
Arjuna said, the sun god, Vivasvan, is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instruct this science to him?
All right. So Arjuna Vachana. Arjun has a question. He says, Aparam bhavato janma. Aparam meaning your birth is junior. You're junior. To who? Param janma vivasvata. Vivasvata has been born before you. And you. So Krishna and Arjuna are contemporaries, right? almost the same age. They're sitting together in one chariot, and Vivaswan, who was born so many years ago, how come you give the knowledge to him? Now, Arjuna is asking this question to him, not this way. I'm just exaggerating, but this is what he means. Katham etad vijaniyam. Katham, how do I understand? So, how do I understand that, or how do I know? Tvam adau proktavan iti. Adau is before, like in the beginning. How do I understand that Tvam, you spoke it to Proktavan, you spoke it to this knowledge to him. So it's really nice. Although they are contemporaries, Krishna has said that I have spoken this knowledge to Vivaswan, to the sun god. So it shows beautiful qualities of Arjuna also. He's inquisitive and he's also patient. After 3 verses, he's asking, he's not that first verse, Krishna said that I gave this knowledge to Vivaswan, he gave to Manu, Manu gave to Ikshvaku. Immediately, Arjuna could have said, how do I understand? You gave it to him, right? But he waited. So Prabhupada speaks about patience. He says, when somebody is speaking, you should be patient, because the first thing, the person who's speaking also might project that you might have this question and he might give you the answer himself. So you should wait always. You should not jump into, okay, I have to show that you're so intelligent, especially to a guru. So also there is a way to ask. So one is patience. Inquisitiveness shows that you're intelligent. So, and Prabhupada used to say, you should be asking questions, and intelligent questions. This shows that there is some gray matter and you have the intelligence to ask the right questions. But also, how to ask is very important. I remember when we started doing the Bhagavad Gita classes at home, there was this really nice devotee, and he also was husband-wife, got initiated. Anything I spoke, which like a fact, he would open his Google on the phone and put it and search it right in front of me to check whether what I'm saying is right or not. So that is one thing which just throws off, the speaker who's speaking. If you have some doubts, you can wait and ask. But this also happened in the temple, and that person, because when Tukaram Prabhu speaks, he is really strict. And he saw somebody Googling and finding out, and Tukaram Prabhu was like, okay, you want to have a debate? Are you doubting? So then he was really upset. So inquisitiveness is one thing, but asking with humility is another thing. Here we see Arjuna asking in such a humble way. He's saying, Katham etad vijaniyam. How do I understand? He's not saying, how did you speak to him? You're junior in birth. This is not how he's saying. He's saying, how do I... you saying must be true, but how do I understand? With my limited capacity, I'm not able to understand. So if you can clear this doubt of mine, that's also really important. How could Arjuna not believe Krishna's words, even though he's a devotee? He's inquiring. Prabhupada says this. He's inquiring for the ignorant who don't believe in Krishna. It is simply an attempt by the devotee to defy the atheistic attitude of persons who consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being subject to the modes of material nature. An atheist may come to know about the superhuman nature of God in this way. So Krishna appeared in a human form and is born from Devaki. If he is human, he cannot be omniscient. And if he was born, he cannot be eternal. People think like this. This is coming from Baldev Vidyabhushan. People think that if he's born like a human, how can he be omniscient? How can he have all knowledge? And how can he be eternal? Arjuna put this question for Krishna himself to answer rather than being depicted in a distorted way by the demons. So for demons, Krishna's words may appear to be strange. So the link to next verse. Being a devotee of Krishna, Arjuna knew perfectly well that Krishna, although appeared as the son of Devaki on this earth, is the omniscient supreme. Omniscience means all-knowing. He's the omniscient supreme Lord, but atheistic people consider Krishna as ordinary. So Arjuna wanted Krishna to authoritatively establish the truth about himself. And now Krishna will answer in the next verse. So what does Krishna say? Shri Bhagavan Vacha Bahuni Me Vyatitani Janmani Tavarjuna Tanyaham Iveda Sarvani Na Tvam Veta Parantapa. Somebody can read the translation, please.
The personality of Godhead said, "Many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy."
So here Krishna is revealing his position, which is substantially a supreme position, where he's saying that Bahuni me vyatitani, many births, Janmani tava Arjuna. So Bahuni me vyatitani, it has passed. What has passed? Janmani, many births, you and I, tava Arjuna. Me is me. So me and you have passed, Bahuni, many lives. Taniham Veda Sarvani. Veda is knowledge. I have the knowledge of all Sarvani, of all those births. I have the knowledge. Na tvam veta parantapa. But you don't remember, O Arjuna. So this is a supreme position of Krishna, and he's revealing it that how can a person remember all his past lives? Not just his, everybody's past lives. Yes, Vishal Prabhu, you have a question or a comment?
Yes, Mataji. In this verse, like why Krishna has used that I remember all my births when we know that he is unborn.
I couldn't understand. Can you repeat that?
Like the like that he remembers all his birth, and Arjuna, you don't remember your birth. So when we know that Krishna is unborn, then why he's using this word as birth for himself?
So see, Janma for Krishna, he appears and he's going to give us more verses to clarify. His Janma also is Divya. It's not like our Janma. So he's going to come to that for sure. But here, and Prabhupada used to talk about Janma for Krishna is like the sun appearing in the morning, but when it sets, it is not in our, we cannot see it, but it's not that it disappeared or it's not no longer there. It's just not in our vision. So this is when Krishna talks about his Janma. He's not in the vision right now, so he appears. He himself is talking about how people are also born, and he is as born now as a human, right? But how is he different? He's going to tell us in the coming verses for sure. Good question. He's going to clarify. So let's look at the verse again. Krishna is calling Arjuna with two names. He's saying Arjuna also and Parantapa also. And what are the meaning of these two? Arjuna means one who's pure, straight, and spotless. And Parantapa means one who subdues the enemy, who's powerful. So why is he using these words? Our acharyas tell us that even though Arjuna is pure and he has so much power, but it is not enough to overcome the oblivion that comes with passage of time and the change of lifetime. So you with that purity also, or that power, it's not that you'll get the capacity to remember all those births. So the conditioned soul who transmigrates from one body to another forgets everything because he's different from his body, right? The soul is different, body is different. When we take a birth, we won't even remember what we ate 3 days ago in dinner time or a week back, right? Same time, where were we, what we were doing, what we ate, we will not remember. And Krishna's eternal devotees like Arjuna, they also appear with him, but he covers their knowledge. Although it is not that Arjuna didn't know anything and he's asking these questions, he did, but his knowledge was covered so that by Yoga Maya, so we can gain. So he can ask these questions and we can gain practically. Supreme Lord Krishna appears in various incarnations or avatars, but does not change his Satchidananda body, which is not different from himself. So everything in relationship to Krishna is spiritual. Being omniscient, he knows everything and remembers all his past appearances. As the Supreme Lord, he is not subject to vicissitudes. I also was looking up the dictionary when I heard this word, which means that changes due to time around us. Okay, so Krishna, the all-attractive and all-powerful Lord, his spiritual position is not affected by his location. Krishna may be in a human-like body of a particular age and may even be in a seemingly subordinate position. Right now he's a charioteer, but he's always the Supreme Person. Okay. And this Krishna speaks about his uniqueness. How is it different? And this also answers your question, Vishal Prabhu. Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavamyatma mayaya. So somebody read the translation.
Although I am unborn.
Although I am. Go ahead.
Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form.
Okay, so Ajopi san avyayatma, so unborn, without deterioration, or avyayatma means imperishable. Bhutanam Ishwaropi san, I am the Ishwar of all the bhutas, of all the jivas. Prakritim swam adhishtaya. In the transcendentally, this transcendental form of myself, being the adhishtaya, being the controller. I'm so situated. Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. I do incarnate again and again by my Atma Maya. Maya, by my internal potency. I create my own appearance. So a beautiful verse. And then after this, so many verses will come in a line, all such gem of verses. So difference between Krishna and the conditioned living entity, according to 5th and the 6th verse. Krishna is eternal and remembers his past, present, and future, and he's also Achyuta, he does not forget, or he's infallible. And conditioned living entity is eternal but forgets. So the soul is eternal, but the body is not. Remembers all births because body does not change or deteriorate. He's avyayam. A conditioned entity forgets because body changes and deteriorates. Krishna appears by his own will. A living entity is forced to appear by karma. Body is transcendental and Jiva's body is material. No difference between body and self. Advaita, and soul acquires an external body which is gross and subtle. So this is the difference between Krishna when he appears and us when we appear. So avatariti iti avatar. That which, this is the definition of avatar. What is avatar? Avatar iti avatari iti avatar. That which descends is called avatar. So Krishna descends through his internal potency and he is transcendental to the material existence. And we'll understand with this really practical example, Krishna's two energies. So if you look at electric powerhouse, right, generates power. And when it comes to our house, through a same port, that energy can be either converted into heating or cold, right? The same energy, it is electric, but it can be through the port, it can be changed into heat or cold. So similarly, in this world, Krishna's energy can be Yogamaya also, it can be Mahamaya also. When we turn away from Krishna, then Mahamaya is there for us. But when we turn towards Krishna, then there is Yogamaya who protects, even holds our hand and helps us take us towards Krishna. So Maya has two faces. If we turn to Krishna, she liberates us. If we turn away, she binds us to this worldly life. And this is also Krishna's miraculous potency, that although he was there 5,000 years ago, he came in this human form, and people around him who could all see him, but they didn't understand him. Some could not. So let's have somebody guess who these are. I know these, some of them are, and most of, I think all of them are animated. But if you can guess who are his devotees who could understand him, and who were his enemies who could not understand him as the Supreme Lord when he appeared 5,000 years ago.
The
First
second
one
one,
looks like Duryodhana.
Arjuna, Vidura,
Kunti.
Kunti.
Kunti, yeah.
Yeah.
And who could not understand are four.
Shishupal.
Shishupal,
Shishupal, yeah.
Dhritarashtra.
No, this one is
Duryodhan. Yeah.
Duryodhan,
Maybe Duryodhana second.
this is Vidura.
Hmm.
Okay.
Arjun to ye hai.
Arjun, Kunti Mata.
yeah, Arjun, Kunti Mata, and Vidura are three who could understand, and there are four over here who could not. So one was
Yeah.
somebody said Shishupal, Duryodhan, two more, if you can guess.
Jarasandha.
Who?
But Teji, we are not able to see.
पीछे ये वो है ना, क्या नाम
Only
था जिन्होंने
Jarasandha.
Jarasandha is written.
Jarasandha is written. Who cannot see? You cannot see the screen?
We are seeing pics. Mata.
We are just seeing 7, right?
Missing
What
six,
is
six.
that? This is Jarasandha 7.
Jarasandha, Duryodhan, Shishupal.
Dhritarashtra also Mata.
Then Krishna killed himself
Kamsa?
in Mathura. Kamsa.
Kamsa.
Somebody said Kamsa, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks more like
Kansa.
Dhritarashtra.
More like Dhritarashtra. Okay,
Actually, there are so many, right, Mataji, that you'll not
there are so
understand.
many, yeah. We
Yeah.
were just taking a little break here and okay, so here's the time of appearance. Very beautiful verse. Krishna speaks about when he appears. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. So yada yada, whenever and wherever, he dharmasya, there is decline in dharma, glanir. So glanir hoti hai dharma ki, then I come, right? Bhavati bharata, abhyuthanam adharmasya, there is a growth in irreligion, adharmasya, tadatmanam srijamyaham, I manifest myself. Tadatmanam, at that time, I manifest myself. So one is there is decline in religion and there is rise in irreligion. That is the time I appear. So this is time of, we all have to memorize these verses. We also have to memorize when did Krishna appear, why did he, nature of his appearance, and the uniqueness, and like those. So when somebody says, okay, when did Krishna appear? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, yada yada hi dharmasya, 4.7. This is how we memorize. All right, so the eternal Lord manifests again and again, and his manifestation is not limited to a particular time, place, and circumstance. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he spoke about a beautiful concept that when Krishna speaks about when Lord in our ancient India, right? When he speaks about Vedas, when he speaks about coming and gracing people through his appearance, he just not says, okay, one time I appeared and you have to take shelter of me, otherwise you will go to hell. There are religions like that. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur compared those religions where Abrahamic religions, where this is a concept. For example, Jesus appeared, right? and people who are surrendering to him, taking his, the prophecies, abiding by them, they will go to heaven. Otherwise, everybody else will go to hell. Now, the question was raised by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. What about the people who were born before Jesus appeared? Were they not taken care of? All of them went to hell. And what about those people who might not know, though they might be situated in areas in this world they might not be aware of? They're ignorant about the gospel given by, in Christianity, by, the followers of Jesus. Will they not be protected? They will all go to hell. So is God biased then? How come, if God is all loving, he cannot be biased? But here we see a loving God who says, I appear again and again to take care of the dharmic people and to annihilate the adharmic people. Deepa Mataji, you have a question or a comment?
Yes, Mataji. This just for the sake of argument. So how come in Prabhupada's books there is not much emphasis on Lord Buddha's teachings, because it is a more recent avatar as compared to Krishna? So just wanted to know why that is not being spoken of as a more relevant or the most recent for this, time, place, and circumstance.
So Krishna will talk about the purpose also. To serve various purposes, he appears, right? At that time, when he took the form of Buddha, what was the reason of him coming? So the reason was, just before him, there was Shankaracharya, who brought his theory of, in the Vedas, right? Get into the Vedas, follow the Vedas. In the Vedas, there's also animal slaughter, not slaughter, sacrifice. But that became animal slaughter through time, right? Very crude example I can give. Shankaracharya, when he spoke about, following the Vedas, people, yes, there's sacrifice. They started doing sacrifice. So part of the Vedas, they were doing sacrifice in a very bona fide way. So they used to chant in the ear of the animal that because I'm killing you right now, you have the right to kill me in a future life. And then kill and offer as sacrifice also because they were authentic mantras, pronunciation was authentic, the Brahmana doing the sacrifice was pure. They could see the soul of that animal getting a new body. Like if they're sacrificing an old horse, the horse will get a new body in front of everyone. It was so miraculous. But through time, degradation of time and knowledge, what happened? People stopped doing the sacrifice themselves. They would give some money to a priest, you do the sacrifice, but give us the remnants, because the taste of meat now was on their tongue. Now they wanted more meat. So it wasn't, then slaughterhouses, degradation to the, cruelest. No sacrifice, but just slaughter and eat meat. So because it was so prominent, Krishna came as Buddha and he said, okay, reject all the Vedas. And then he propounded how, purity of soul, mercifulness, all those good qualities. But why is he not spoken about much? Because he rejected the Vedas because it was important that time. At this time, when Krishna had appeared 5,000 years ago, what was his purpose? To attract us, the perfection of human life, to attract us through his pastimes, and his pastimes with Radharani attract us to the utmost loving relationship, and we can also all go back to Golok Vrindavan, to his dham, which is not what Buddha came, his avatar as Buddha came at that time. So the purpose is completely different. What should be our perfection of human life? Not just being happy and peaceful and, loving to each other, but there's the highest purpose of loving, having that relationship with God and going back to Godhead. Very good question, Deepaji. I hope I could answer.
So just a follow up. So does this mean that that situation has now been recovered? Like before Buddha came, there was a situation. But now we're going one step back. So does it really mean that we have overcome that brutality in
No, actually,
animals?
it is going on, and it, because Kali Yuga is there, right? So Krishna
Yeah.
will again appear as Kalki, and he will also, vanquish every demoniac, person on, or people on, or jivas on earth. So he will come again. We have to see the purpose behind Krishna's appearance. Krishna himself in his original form came 5,000 years ago. That's most important, right? The others also come for the time and circumstance. His appearance is necessary to attain dharma at one level, right? But Krishna's appearance in his original form is the most beautiful and most authentic and most important for us, because he's coming in his original form and the original purpose to take us back with him through his beautiful pastimes and attracting our hearts.
So Krishna's teachings are more eternal, and like Buddha's teaching are very circumstantial.
Yeah, and there's so many Buddhists right now also. If you see, there are followers of, Buddha right now.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so all these incarnations, why are there unlimited incarnations? Because his love for us is unlimited. Out of love, Krishna is always planning in various ways to attract us. He manifests in various forms again and again to deliver his mercy to us. All right, so in this Manvantar, which is the 28th one right now going on, Krishna appears in the end of Dwapar Yuga. You can see all the years. This is some information for you. Sumati Mataji, you also have a question?
Mataji, I'll just talk later.
Okay. So, and these are the names of the Manus. So previous Manvantar, these were the Manus. Right now is Vivevasvata Manu, Manvantar, and he's the Manu in this particular Manvantar. And then there are future Manvantars, and you can see the names of all those Manus also.
Mataji, I just wanted to tell that, yeah, and whenever we are in some low confidence or trouble, if somebody, our loved ones, if they say, no, don't worry, we will be there, means I'll be there with you. Somebody tells, we feel confident, right, to go through that moment. Here, the Supreme Personality himself is telling, I'll come back if there is any tough or dharma on earth. That gives hope and confidence, I feel, Mataji. It's very encouraging words, actually.
It's wonderful, and I was going to come to that point also. It is one of the slides, in fact, where Krishna says, he gives the reason of his appearance and how he takes care of adharma. It's coming up, that slide also. And beautifully, you spoke about how when Krishna says, I'll be there, I come to maintain the dharma, and I'll be there to take care. It is also because we also have so many, anarthas within our heart. So when Krishna appears in our heart, he also purifies our heart of these anarthas, and he establishes dharma within the heart. So that's really nice. Thank you for bringing that up. Krishna's able devotees can rectify the destruction of dharma and the rise of adharma. So why is it necessary for Krishna to personally appear? This is the purpose. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. This is the purpose of his appearance. If somebody can read the translation.
In order to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium.
So Krishna says, for delivering the saintly paritranaya sadhunam, people who are sadhu, I come to protect them. Vinashaya cha dushkritam, the people who are dushkritam, who are wrongdoers, I come to annihilate them. Dharma samstharpanarthaya, to establish dharma, I descend millennium after millennium, yuge yuge. So in each yuga, Krishna comes, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. So Prabhupada's lecture on Ishopanishad, Prabhupada says, Krishna is a lion to the demons and he's a lamb to the devotees. So same Krishna, he manifests, but his emotions, his love, and the way he is outwardly to the demons and to the devotees, it's completely different. He also used to speak about how a cat is to the mouse and how a cat is to the kitten, right? To the mouse, the cat will come as death. Same cat and the same teeth holds the rat and crushes and eats, right? But the same cat and the same teeth will hold its kitten so gently and take it from one place to another. So same cat, but comes for a different purpose for each jiva separate. Yes, Kaya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So I hope I'm not asking this question too soon, but what happens to the jivas who are annihilated, the demoniacs? What happens to them?
So when Krishna personally is present and these people are annihilated, the demons, they are liberated. They don't go back to Golok Vrindavan, but they're liberated and they go, they attain liberation. It could be any of the liberations. There are 7 kinds of liberations. It just depends on what kind of demoniac activities they were doing and accordingly, but they're all liberated. Even on the battlefield, all the warriors who were killed when Krishna was personally present, they were all liberated.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji.
So, okay. On a higher level, Krishna. Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. One doubt I got. Mataji, who appeared first, Buddha or this Shankaracharya?
Shankaracharya was before Buddha.
No, Mataji. Shankaracharya appeared after Buddha.
After Buddha?
Yes, Mataji. Shankaracharya was this 8th century.
Yes. You're right. So I think you're right.
Because Buddha told there are no Vedas.
Yes.
Veda. To stop this violence.
Yes. When I was relating the pastime, I also said the same thing. So Shankaracharya came and he's what do you call? Through the Vedas, the sacrifices were conducted and people got so violent that they were just killing, right? But then Buddha appeared, he said that forget all these Vedas. Yes.
Shankaracharya, as per the request of this Krishna, first Shivaji denied, I cannot do that. You are my master. Then on the request of Krishna, again, no, you have to. Then he came as Shankaracharya and brought back this Vedas. Right now, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. And I can go also and further research a little more, and then we can come back and discuss that more.
Yes, because Prabhupada told this specifically in this purpose.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing. All right, on a higher level, Krishna comes to relieve his devotees who are afflicted by the agony of being separated from him. So Krishna appears on a higher level for his devotees to be there in front of them and relieve their agony of being separated. So Dharma Samsthapana, to establish dharma by protecting the saintly spiritual-minded devotees when they are under threat or repressed by the tyrannic, so that they can practice and propagate dharma and attract more and more people towards the practice of dharma. And whenever we cry out to Krishna, he enters our heart to remove that which is adharmic from our hearts and to reinforce that which is dharmic. When I read about this, or when I think about how Krishna enters our heart and he cleanses, our anarthas, I always give the example of how when my daughter was little and we used to go to the park, there was a sand pit, and I wanted to sit down, and the benches were always covered with sand, so I had to clean it, and then I used to sit so they could, kids could play. And I was thinking that when we call out to Krishna, Krishna comes in our heart, but he says it's all so much full of all this dust of anarthas. So where do I sit? So then he cleanses the heart, and then he makes his home there. So when we call out to Krishna, this is also one thing that happens, that purity comes by just in contact with Krishna. So primary reason for Krishna's advent is to satisfy the longing of his pure devotees who desire to see him and to protect them. Punishing demons is secondary. Devaki and Vasudeva were persecuted by cruel Kamsa only because Krishna was to be born of them. So Krishna appeared primarily to deliver Devaki rather than kill Kamsa, although both were performed simultaneously. Punishment is also mercy. Krishna's killing the evil persons is an act of mercy because he bestows on them the bliss of liberation by killing them for their misdeeds. Krishna is the primeval Lord, the fountainhead of all avatars, such as Purusha avatars, Guna avatars, Leela avatars, Sakya Avesh avatars, Manvantar avatars, and Yoga avatars, all appearing on schedule all over the universe. You can look at this later, a detail of how Krishna, when he appears as different avatars. So Vilasa avatar, Leela avatar, Purusha avatar. So there's Swamsha and Vilasa. Under Swamsha, all these Leela, Purusha, Guna, and then Satyavesh, Manavantar, and Yuga avatar. Within Satyavesh, Satyavesh avatar is Avatara and then Vibhuti. You can read all of this for your knowledge later. And this is also going in more detail. Prabhava Vilasa and Vaibhav Vilas. And this is purpose of Lord's appearance. So primary purpose, we did this, so you can take a look later. And next one, again, another famous verse, which we'll try to memorize also, 4.9. This is the nature of Krishna's appearance. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvataha tattva deham punar janma naiti mameti. So Arjuna, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attain my eternal abode. So this also answers your question, Vishal Prabhu. How is Krishna's birth different than everybody else's? Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam. My appearance, my janma, and my karma, both are divya, both are transcendental. Both are divine. Evam yo veti tatvata. This, whoever knows, veti again is knows, who has this knowledge of knowing. 1 second, my battery is a little low. I'll just put on the charger. Evam yo veti tatvataha. One who knows this in truth. Tyaktva deham punarjanma. When they give up their body, deham, punarjanma, again taking a janma, naiti mameti. So Arjuna, they will attain me. They will not take a punarjan. They will not be reborn here on earth, but they will come to me. Mameti. So Arjuna, first time Krishna is talking about a destination which is beyond this material world and which is eternal. Krishna is saying Mam Eti. That is a place where you will come. So 251 also, if you remember, Krishna spoke about Param Gachanti Anavritam. You will attain a higher destination. But there Krishna didn't speak about what that destination is. And we always talk about how Bhagavad Gita is going in a helix-like fashion. Krishna repeats, but he also goes forward, giving more knowledge. So it's like a helix. He gave this knowledge that you will attain a higher destination. And what is that destination? Now Krishna is telling, Mahameti, you will come to me. Where? whereby coming, you will not take birth again, meaning you will stay there forever with me. So that destination which is free from all miseries will come to me. So Krishna's birth and his activities, janma and karma, both are divine. We cannot say this for any other human being, right? Any other jiva. We cannot speak like this, that that person's birth is divine. Everybody comes in this birth, in this world crying, right? That is, if somebody doesn't cry, that is abnormal. And the doctor is, hitting so that the child cries, and that's the way the child takes birth, meaning takes the first breath in and survives. So, but Krishna, how did he appear? It's the first picture you can see. He appeared with all his ornaments. He also showed his Vishnu form to Devaki and right, Vasudev. His appearance was so divine and so beautiful, right? We speak about his appearance so many times, even in the temples we depict, we have plays showing his appearance, and beautifully how he instructed, take me to Gokul and bring the girl born in the house of Nand Maharaj, from there to this prison house. And Vasudeva was like, my hands are shackled. He didn't question Krishna. How do you think I'll pick you up? And how do you think I'm chained? My legs are also bound. How am I? Person who's bound cannot take a person somewhere else. But Krishna, because it's coming from him, his instruction, he didn't even think twice. With his bound, shackled hands, he tried to pick up Krishna. And because he showed his desire to serve Krishna, his shackles broke and the guards slept and the Yamuna parted way. So miracles start happening when we try to follow Krishna's instructions. We shouldn't doubt that would it be possible, not possible. And somebody might say, how can we pick up Krishna now that he was born, he appeared 5,000 years ago? How can I pick him up and I expect miracles in my life? And our acharyas tell us we can pick up Krishna through his holy names. When we chant his holy names, then miracles start happening in our life also. We are trying to show Krishna that we are sincere. We want to be your devotees. We want to follow your instructions. This is our way of showing our sincerity to Krishna, by chanting his names, by becoming devotees and following his instructions. So, result of understanding Lord's appearance in past times. You can take a look. These are the notes. So how is it that one might say, how is it that if I understand, Krishna is saying, right? Let's look at the verse again. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvata. Just by understanding that Krishna's appearance and his activities are divya, how is it that I will not be born again? Right? Somebody might ask this question, how will I become, transcendental also? So this is the answer. When we try to understand Krishna in truth, Veti Tattvata, we realize how wonderful Krishna is, that he descends into this world to deliver me, that he loves all souls so selflessly, even if they're neglecting him, and that he performs such wonderful pastimes with his devotees in which he subordinates his divinity for the sake of intimacy and reciprocating in love. He gives us opportunity to love him and relish his love eternally. When Krishna sees that we love him, then he naturally takes us to a place where we can keep loving him forever and ever. So beautiful way our acharyas describe how is it that when we understand Krishna's janma and karma is divine, we also we go to his abode and we will also not come back through this procedure of getting to know him, then seeing how merciful and graceful and how compassionate he is towards his devotees. And look at the picture, right? This is Krishna from whom Sankarshan, from whom Garbhodakshay Vishnu And then Kshirodaksha Vishnu, all of them are appearing. Mahavishnu pores, through his pores, all these universes are coming out. And Krishna is, he is the one who's manifesting all those Vishnus. And look at how when he comes in a little baby form, he's picking up his own father's, shoes to serve his, shows Krishna is willing to serve his own loving devotees. So when devotees look at all these pastimes and they understand Krishna's glories, but how loving he is in reciprocating with his devotees, we all fall in love with Krishna. And following in love with Krishna and serving him, Krishna says, okay, then you come to my abode and you love me forever and you serve me forever. Then this is the way to Krishna's heart and Krishna coming in our heart. Understanding Krishna's extraordinariness has extraordinary benefits for us. And what does Tattvata understanding require? Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmana mam pashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavam agataha. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me. Many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. So Krishna says, Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. Vita is to give up or to be free from what? These three, Raga, Bhaya, and Krodha. Attachment, fear, and anger. People who got free from these three, Manmana, Mam, Upashrita. Manmana is always think of me, right? Being absorbed in Mam Upashrita, they took shelter of me. Bahavo Jnana Tapasa. Many in the past, Bahavo is so many. Jnana Tapasa, by the austerity of knowledge. What is the austerity of knowledge? Understanding that Krishna is the supreme. Puta Madbhavam Agrata. Having been purified, they all attained my abode. I'll come to your question, Deepa Mataji. Let's quickly finish this. Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. So this also came, same, Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha came in 256, but there the context was Stita Dhir Muni Uchite. Krishna was describing the Stita Dhir Muni, equipoised person, right? These are the qualities necessary for being Stita Dhir Muni or sage of steady mind. Now Krishna is using the same words, Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha, but these are the qualities necessary for being able to take shelter of Krishna wholeheartedly. We might have Raga, attachment, we might have fear, we might have Krodha, but how to go beyond these? Maybe we'll take in our next class. I was going to finish, but there's not enough time. We'll get into a little more detail about Raga, Bhaya, and Krodha and how people can get free from these three. But if we can, then Krishna says, people in the past, it's not that I'm telling this knowledge to you and you can become free and come to my abode. People in the past have also done this. So it's very practical. And people have these sages who got rid of these three, they took shelter of me, they have come to me. All right, Diva Mataji.
Mataji, I'm not sure I have the doubt anymore because you said you're going to explain I was concerned more about the Bhaya, like sometimes, like what does that mean? As we find that meek people are generally like scared of, or just like they fearsome to do like brave acts, things like that. Is that considered weakness and disqualification?
Let's spend 3-4 more minutes and I'll just finish the presentation. So when Krishna speaks about, our acharyas have clarified what the fear means and what all these are. So Raga first is excessive attachment, the attitude of infatuation for this material world. And Krishna has spoken about this earlier, 244, Bhogashwarya Prasaktanam. Taya Prihata Chetasam. So these people, Vyavasayatmika Buddhir, people who are too attached for them with material opulence and to enjoy, in their mind, the resolute determination for spiritual life does not take place because of so much attachment, right? This is raga. Excessive attachment, the attitude of infatuation for this material world, which is distraction from any spiritual purpose. So raga, then two sources of raga or attachment in this world: material opulence and sense gratification. Then bhaya, acharyas tell us there can be philosophical kind of fear where people, being frustrated with the futility of material nature, want to go beyond all forms and start worshipping the formless. They become impersonalists. So that also keeps them away from coming close to Krishna or taking shelter of Krishna. So bhaya is that people, they hear so many philosophies, they get confused, they want to take shelter of the formless. So that's why, and if they go that route, impersonal route, then taking shelter of Krishna as personal form becomes impossible. So going that route, they'll end up in the Brahmajyoti or the 7 kinds of liberation. They will not get the ultimate perfection destination, which is Krishna's abode. So this is one kind, that kind of fear, or philosophical fear, you may call it. And krodha is due to material dissatisfaction. Just recently I had my relatives, both of them cousins, husband and wife, both of them said we are atheists. And I was like, why? Can you tell me the reason? And one of the lady, she said, because there's so much cruelty in this world, I don't think there's any God. And they didn't have much time, otherwise we could have got into a discussion. And I also wanted not to jolt them too much in the first meeting, first time I met her, my cousin's wife. So there are people like that. Due to material dissatisfaction, one thinks that God does not help me. I also don't care for God. Maybe he's not there at all. Also, second reason of krodha can be one gets so frustrated due to encountering so many difficult philosophies, different philosophies, that one feels there is no absolute truth, and that keeps one from turning towards Krishna. So this could be 2 kinds of krodha. And people who get free, when one gives up or is free of all these 3, then one can fix the mind on Krishna and take shelter of him. So Jnana Tapasa, Krishna says, is austerity of knowledge, understanding that how someone can be omnipotent and still manifest as a child. How someone can be all-pervading and still be a person. So this is Jnana Tapasa, austerity of knowledge. One might think, I'm so knowledgeable. Because of my intellect, I can come to a conclusion that a person who is, or if you call him God, that God who is pervading everywhere, how can he take the form of a person? So such people are there, and they are impersonalists. They will talk about how there is God, but he's formless. He's all pervading and he's formless. So these Jnana Tapasa, when he says austerity of knowledge, is to understand that that supreme God, if he is omniscient, omnipotent, he can also take a form, right? It is not that if he's all powerful, he has all strength, and he can do anything, that why can't he take a form also, a little baby's form? So this is beyond them, because the austerity of knowledge is not there. So people who have the austerity of knowledge, who are free from Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha, they Mam Upashrita, they take my shelter. How? By always Manmaya, Manmana, by always being absorbed in me, taking shelter of me. So Bahavo is many, Jnana Tapasa, by austerities of knowledge, Puta, being purified, and Madbhavam, they all attain transcendental love for me. And we spoke about all of this. You can, this is according to Prabhupada. You can also read this later, but just goes a little more in detail about those. And 9 stages of bhakti, according to Nectar of Devotion, which we will do when we do Nectar of Devotion, but just bringing it here, how one person free from those 3, Raga, Bhaya, and Krodha, and how they attain prema for Krishna. This is the gradation or the stages of bhakti. And this is the summary of what we did because we went so fast from 1 to 10. You can also take a look at this later when I share the recording. All right. So Deepa Mataji, I see you also had, did you have another question?
Yeah. So